Hello everyone, it's me, Alisa Wadomska, glad to welcome you to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about how to recognize a psychological abuser at the very beginning of a relationship. You can only recognize a psychological abuser if you carefully observe their behavior. What happens when such a person bursts into your life? A woman's life often breaks her psyche, undermines her self-worth, and naturally her self-esteem falls, and so on. It is often very difficult to get out of such relationships and very hard for a person to return to a normal life. So, what does an abuser do? A woman can recognize herself in states such as "he appeared as if from my dreams," meaning he is perfect in every way, and she may catch herself thinking, "Did I really deserve this? Here he is finally, a kindred spirit, a close person, and everything is as it should be." But at that moment, she, let's say, falls into the abuser's trap, and little by little, this abuser begins to reprogram her consciousness, that is, to work with her in the way he feeds. And she no longer believes in herself, in her feelings, in her sensations. She lives only by the ideas imposed on her by him, all thanks to such subtle manipulation. Naturally, a woman's self-esteem drops. Her faith in herself diminishes. She no longer knows what she wants. She forgets what she feels. She often feels lost, and she doesn't understand what is happening. Now we will talk about how to recognize a psychological abuser at the very beginning of a relationship, so that later you don't have to struggle for a long time or work on yourself from the state that an abuser usually puts you in. The first thing he does is violate boundaries, an unconditional violation. That is, he bursts into your life, crowns you, and then knocks you off the pedestal. This is how it usually happens. At first, he will show you signs of attention, care, and help, even if you didn't ask for it. He seems to burst into your life, and you start to feel like you owe him for what he has done for you, even though you didn't ask for it. And then the thought begins in the woman's head that suddenly this is love, and suddenly this is the same man. He cares so much. He shows himself in such a way. Further, she feels indebted because of this help. And what else can a man abuser do? He can appear in a woman's life, make her fall in love with him, and then disappear for a while. That is another scheme where he disappears, and she thinks, where is he? That is, she no longer lives with her own thoughts and feelings. She lives with thoughts of where he is, why he disappeared, what she did wrong. Perhaps she behaved incorrectly. Perhaps she did something bad. And she starts to think that if he comes back, I will try harder. I will be better. Perhaps I said something wrong. That is, he makes her think about him. Again, he puts her on a pedestal and then disappears. And she wants to return to that pedestal. She was happy. She doesn't understand what she did, why everything collapsed in an instant, and she is already ready to fight for that pedestal. Next, a psychological abuser puts a woman in such emotional roller coasters. That is, yes, he gives flowers, cares, and then out of nowhere he gets offended and leaves for no reason. So that is, you did nothing. You understand that. That is, from your side, everything was fine, but you no longer believe in your reality. You think you did something wrong. You dig into yourself. You are again experiencing thoughts that you did something wrong. The first red flag that may reveal a psychological abuser on the first dates is when he sits. For example, if you are at a restaurant, in a cafe, or just walking somewhere, sitting on a bench, and he tells you beautiful words, some compliments, something. He tells you that everyone around him is bad. For instance, someone is poorly dressed, someone speaks poorly. He talks about his acquaintances, close ones, friends, relatives, possibly even about his mother, about exes. And all of this is painted in dark tones. Sometimes women find this moment flattering. He supposedly puts her on a pedestal. That is, she feels that she is special. Everyone else is bad, but she is special. But this is just a hook that you get caught on. Then you will find yourself in the same dark tones. So listen very carefully to what the man says on the first dates and during the second meetings. That is, if everyone around a person is bad, then soon you will become bad too. Next, the second warning sign. When a man cools off, that is, a psychological abuser has this tactic. First, good, good, then bad, bad. So the second warning sign is when you start looking for the reason within yourself. That is, if you catch yourself thinking that you seemingly did nothing, but what did you do wrong, you worry. Mentally revisiting those events, wondering why he disappeared, why he got so offended. Most likely you have fallen into the abuser's trap. Now he wants to hook you tighter, meaning he needs control over you. Everything he does is to undermine your self-confidence, to hook you so that it will be easier to manipulate and control you in the future. Therefore, as soon as you mentally realize that you haven't done anything, but something is happening, and you don't understand why, you start digging into yourself. Observe him closely. It is quite possible that he is indeed the psychological abuser trying to manipulate you. The third warning sign is, what did I do wrong? As soon as you ask yourself this question and think that everything will change, that you will earn his love, the childlike scenario kicks in, where the girl seeks to earn her mother's love, thinking, I will do everything for her to love me. That is, such men often appear in the lives of unloved girls, and she tries. She thinks, that's it. I won't allow this anymore. I will try harder. As soon as you catch yourself having these thoughts, you are already hooked by the abuser. You can only exit such relationships. It is impossible to change such a person. Moving on. He talks only about himself in a positive light. So again, this can be a characteristic. He may say nothing good about you, but he presents himself as this wonderful person, saying that everything is great for him, while all his acquaintances have it bad, including their parents. And everyone around is bad, only he is wonderful, so good. So, if you see this kind of narcissist who praises himself while everyone around is unworthy, this can again be a characteristic of a psychological abuser. Of course, none of the specific situations, that is, there can be similar situations in normal relationships, but it is impossible to definitively say that someone is a psychological abuser based on just one aspect. But if you see in general that a man acts according to this principle, that is, he loves and then disappears, then he is trying to do something to you, trying to make you doubt yourself, your thoughts, your feelings, and you feel bad in this relationship. You feel like you are losing yourself. Then it is likely that this is the psychological abuser. Next, control. Everything a psychological abuser does at the beginning of a relationship is solely to gain unconditional control over you. The abuser needs to control you completely. Well, so that you are like a puppet, a doll that can be controlled. He pulls the strings and you do everything he wants. Mentally, that is, if you are communicating with a person, imagine yourself in the place of that puppet. Is it happening to you like this now or not? So, the relationship should be as he wants. You watch movies of the genre that he loves. You eat only what he loves. When you start to realize that you are losing yourself and you no longer have your personal tastes, desires, preferences, interests, and everything revolves around this one man, the earth spins around him, then it is likely that this is psychological abuse. Next. Yes, and you have forgotten about yourself. This is another characteristic, groundless jealousy. Jealousy can be present in relationships, and it's normal. It is normal for us to sometimes be jealous of our close loved ones' children. Sometimes they are jealous of their friends, and that's normal. But when it is endless, groundless jealousy, it doesn't let you live a normal life. This is another characteristic. Now, you are already afraid to look somewhere to the side because he will say that you were looking at someone and there will be a hysterics, a scandal, or something like that. So groundless jealousy is again psychological abuse. Next, double standards. Another characteristic is that what is allowed for him is not allowed for you. He can possibly meet with friends, go out to relax, travel to another country alone without you, but you are not allowed to do any of this. He can justify it with words like, I am a man, I earn money, and so on. That is, he always has some prepared phrases regarding this. And you understand, well, yes, he earns money. Well, yes, he is a man. Perhaps a man can do this, but a woman cannot. And again, you allow him to treat you this way. You allow yourself to be in such a relationship. If you recognize several points in your partner, meaning you recognize your loved one in this description, what should you do with a psychological abuser? You should only leave him. He cannot be changed. He needs such relationships due to some psychological childhood traumas. Needs it that way. After leaving these relationships, a woman needs to work on herself to start living a normal, happy life. That's all for this video. I was Alice Vardom. I hope for your likes and subscriptions. Write in the comments what you would like to discuss in my new videos. Don't forget to hit the bell, and goodbye everyone.